welcome to Talk with Eve. This is where you'd find impactful content to encourage you and inspire you to take action. My guest today is Best Okodwa. He is a filmmaker in Nigeria, Africa, who produces movie to promote social development. He's also a peace advocate who advocates for peace in Nigeria and Africa through crime and violence prevention. So I'm sure that you'll be encouraged and impacted by this interview. So enjoy.
A holy one like myself will have to go in there and alter the balance of the demons.
Isn't it that thing they say that they're pressing somebody?
I think it might be that shrine behind our house in the village.
Some people said it was a succubus, that's a female demon that has sexual intercourse with sleeping men.
Where is she?
Mom, can you just stop this, will you, please?
Whatever it is that touches you, this boy touches me. Whatever evil spirit that affects you, affects me.
Why would I try enemy? My family warned me that this was destined for doom, but I blindly went into it. Now look at me! Look at me!
We can't undo the past, but we can get you to a place of inner peace.
We are with Best Okodua, right? And he is he is a filmmaker for the I'm just gonna say Peace Champion. And you said something like SDGE. What is that?
So SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals.
Mm-hmm. So in Peace
The
Champion.
United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So also known as Peace Champion as well, right?
No, I am also a peace champion.
Oh wow. Okay. So we'll get to know what that is. So
Yeah,
before that,
definitely.
yeah. So before that, can you please just tell us a little bit about you, like your name, where you're from, what you do, just something brief.
Okay, my name is Best. I am a Okodua. I'm from Edo State in Nigeria, proud in Nigerian and African. I am a filmmaker, award-winning, and my specialty is societal films. Films that actually promote social development, and and that was where the SDG came into play, because almost all the films that I make are actually in support of the 17 United States Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah, basically why we do that is because we know the power and influence that the media and film wields, and we have decided to consciously ensure that every content that we put out there for entertainment is a double-edged sword. Whilst it actually promises premium entertainment, it's also a tool for sustainable development. It highlights social issues that are actually peculiar to the African nations, and it also provides solutions to such issues. We've had a couple in the past, and we are also making new films, and we are targeting several issues with our films. And aside that, I am a peace champion. Yeah, you did make mention of that. The peace champion is basically a peace advocate, someone who advocates for peace. So what I basically is, I advocate for sustainable peace in Nigeria and Africa. And the primary ways that which I engage that is to actually fight crime and crime prevention. We actually engage in crime and violence prevention, and also sensitize communities on peaceful coexistence.
Amazing, you're doing. So let me just go back. You started as a filmmaker, right? You were just doing okay, and then what you were doing was kind of aligned with what the United Nations were kind of doing too, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm actually very intentional.
Okay.
Yeah. I started off as a filmmaker.
Okay.
And aside that, I have the propensity for social innovations. I'm creating content and ideas and using them to actually impact the society.
That's great.
Yeah. And along the line, I realized that I make really great films, amazing films. The reviews are awesome. And I get to see the reach of my films, and I'm like, okay. It doesn't always have to be like two ways. Like there is actually the serious, the serious part of me, the work part, and there is actually the charity part. No, I can actually synergize both.
Okay.
And that was actually how we metamorphosed our corporate enterprise, our corporate entity into a social enterprise. Formerly, it used to be like a business, like we run a business model. But when I realized that we can as well do business and also impact lives, then we became a social enterprise.
Okay.
We became a social enterprise, whereas we now consciously make films to impact people. We make films to actually spotlight and sensitize people on social issues and also provide solutions. Now, an example of that is this year we've actually made a film on HIV sensitization, but our core focus on that particular content is actually a sensitization on HIV stigmatization. We did a couple of research and we came across the antiretroviral drug. Now, with the antiretroviral drug, we realized that an HIV, somebody living with HIV can actually have unprotected sex with their partner, and their partner would not be at risk of contacting the virus.
Wow, that's interesting.
A lot of people do not.
We don't know that, right?
A lot of people do not even know that that is a possibility. Yeah, but I would not even go into the details of that. So because we understood this, we already know that the whole idea of stigmatization is never personal. Look, people stigmatize you because of the survival instincts in every human being. Yeah. People stigmatize because they want to be safe. Yeah, so that is why when you're living with a condition that by any means can actually be termed contagious, people want to avoid, not because they have a problem with your personality, just because they want to protect themselves. Now, stigmatization dies a natural death when people actually believe that they are safe around you. The workplace stigmatization, social place stigmatization, family stigmatization, society stigmatization dies a natural death if people actually know and believe and understand they are safe around you. And that is exactly what we're doing with the film, with the short film we made earlier on. And even in the year, we've also made a film on cybercrime. And we also have made a film that actually spotlights a particular condition, medical condition called sleep paralysis. It has been often misconstrued in Africa, in Nigeria. So we did a film on that. And currently we're prepping to actually make 3 films as the lockdown is done. And these 3 films are actually spotlighting 3 different issues. The first issue is rape and incest. We're actually focusing on incest because incest is actually, it's a problem that Africans are not ready to talk about. And it's really, really, really prevalent in Africa. Yeah, so we want to really, talk about that without apologies. And the other film would be talking about domestic violence. We're looking at domestic violence from an angle that a lot of people probably are not looking at it from. And the third film is spotlighting female genital mutilation, what we all know as circumcision or girl cutting. Yeah, as much as we would like to think that that practice is extinct, it's still a problem. It's still a problem. So we want to actually, spotlight that problem and also provide solutions. So basically, when I say I'm a filmmaker for the SDGs, this is exactly what it means. Like I'm an intentional and a conscious filmmaker. I don't just make films for the fun of it. I make films to entertain and while at it to actually impact young people.
That's it. I love that.
Project Early Start is an organization. It's actually Early Start Empowerment and Development Initiative. But it's called Project Early Start. Yeah, like an acronym sort of. Yeah. Now, basically, it's actually an organization that is focused on building sustainable peace in Africa and Nigeria through crime and violence prevention and poverty alleviation. Now, we are actually from, our bias about this is bulk of the problems that Africa is facing right now is what's that word? Is a prevention problem. Yeah, most of the things that we ought to have done in the past, we didn't do. We didn't put certain specific structures in place. We didn't actually put a couple of progressive and developmental templates that would have actually, build us out when these problems arises in the future. We didn't do that in the past, and that is why we are where we are. and
That's
such is the case of crime and violence. Now,
Yeah.
crime and violence are issues that are not magical. You know, the trait would have to be embedded in humanity first, in people, before it can be carried out. Now, who are the perpetrators of crimes and violence activities? People. Most often than not, young people. Now, how did they get here? It's
Yeah.
a function of growth and experience.
Yeah.
What are the values that they grew up with? What are the communications and information they were exposed to?
Exactly.
What is their value? What are the norms they conform to? Now, what is actually their purpose in life? What are they currently doing with themselves? All those things come together to actually form the thing that disturbs us today.
Yep.
So if adequate structure in terms of resources, human resources, infrastructural resources, financial resources, educational resources can actually be put in place to influence young people today, who are, of course, the teenagers today.
Yeah.
In the future, say the next 10 years, when these teenagers are actually a lot more exposed and matured, they will not be a problem. Because really and truly, if you want to perpetrate criminal activities, if you as a politician, you're looking for hooligans that will carry out your violent activities, who is going to be available if these guys are not available to be used?
Yeah, that's correct.
Do you understand?
Yeah,
so
that's
exactly what we are doing with Project Elistad. And as the name goes, Project Elistad, we are very, very interested in the young people. And when I say young people, I do not mean the generic youths. No, the teenagers, people who are actually the fresh out from secondary school. They are still very young. They are still influenceable, if there are any such words. You know, like in Africa, there is actually this adage that goes, a raw crayfish, a fresh crayfish can be actually bent to desirable shapes. But once processed, if you bend it, it breaks. You cannot bend it. And that is the case of young people. These teenagers at this time can be influenced to whatever we want them to be. But if we disregard them right now, if we ignore them right now, they will become the very, very bane. They will become the very, very thorn. They will become the problems that we would actually now employ lots of resources to tackle. Look at the state of terrorism in Nigeria right now. Look at the age of the terrorists. These are people that would have actually become young. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now, look at how much resources is being employed and deployed to fight terrorism, to fight armed robbery, to fight rapists and all other vices that are avoidable.
Yeah.
So that is exactly what we are doing with Project Elistad. Now, because we understand that peace is a practice, crime and violence is a practice, we are not just interested in sensitizing and teaching, because at the end of the day, when you teach people and you go away, I mean, they probably hold on to that knowledge for a while.
Short time,
But what we do basically is, while we sensitize teenagers, we also make provisions for capacity development for them. So, by and large, I think pretty much that's what we do with Project Elistad.
Yeah, that's great. Like, I see that you guys go to like different schools. You guys actually went to my former high school in Nigeria, like Latmos Comprehensive College. Latmos.
Oh, that's your former high school.
High school.
Yes. Oh wow.
We
were in Latmos Comprehensive College some 2-3 years ago.
I think
I think that was 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
How do you find these people? Like, I know you go to like different schools, and you know, how do you find those? How do you know to go to like Latmos, for example? How do you find these kids, these teenagers, through your Project Elistad? So do they apply?
No, every year we work in a different local government. See,
good.
Our approach is conquering communities after communities. Now, we don't have the human resources or the work power to actually do so much at a time.
Yeah.
In order to be effective, we can only do just so little at a time. What we do is we are quite specific in our engagement so that we can measure considerable a considerate amount of impact. So what we basically do is, I think every season, every project year, the team sits together and we identify a community, a local government that we will work in the next year. So the year we actually went to Latmos, we worked in Alimosho local government.
Oh,
So
okay.
we were actually working in two different communities at the time, working in Igondo and
Okay.
Ikotun.
Yeah.
So Latmos was in Ikotun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a couple of schools in Igondo that benefited, schools like Zodiac High School
Okay.
in Igondo
Zodiac. Yeah, I know Zodiac. Yeah.
benefited. Then even there is the Zodiac in Ikotun too that also benefited. So that was what
Okay.
we did that year. Then subsequently, once the project here is done, we actually moved to a different location. So this year,
Okay.
this is 2020. In 2019, we actually worked in Agege local government.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and we are still there for now.
Okay. So if you're saying you're working, like for example, let's say you worked at the Agege local government. So how long is that? Does that even last? Like the duration?
It's usually a 1 year project
Okay.
tenure, but
Okay.
we are trying to revise that 1 year tenure because we realized that after the sensitization year, because what we do is we engage the final year students, SS3 and SS2,
Okay.
for the sensitizing them to crime and violence. Now, we follow them up on social platforms and the phone and a couple of other means. We follow up with them, and once they graduate from secondary school, that is after their WAEC,
Yeah.
we still follow up with them through the local government and shortlist 10 teenagers that we are sure are in need of that intervention. If we do not intervene, there will be a serious problem to the community and to the country. So we select such 10 teenagers and we actually get them to learn a trade or a skill of interest or passion for free.
Okay.
The Agege teenagers we selected for 2019, they are currently enrolled to the Agege Vocational Institute. They don't have to pay a dime. We are responsible for their tuition, for their practicals, and for everything, every material that they would actually require for the 9 months training. And now, whilst they are actually training, we also prefer mentorship to them.
Oh, that's
like
great.
I am actually a mentor to most of these teenagers. When we relate, you'll be so surprised. You get, and so many other young Nigerian professionals are volunteered to mentor them also. And this is exactly what we are doing, such that at the end of their 9 months, when they graduate, they will be employable. And we are doing this because they cannot afford a university education. Their parents cannot afford to send them to school.
So that is the criteria,
So
right?
Instead of allowing them go back into the street and becoming miscreants and a pain to the society, we have decided to make them useful and productive.
Amazing.
Such that once they become employable and they are now in the labor force and they are doing well for themselves, they can also be influence to other young people in their immediate community. Young people are quick to learn from other young people.
Exactly.
When
I
they
think
get to see that these young people are productive and they do not have to do crime or don't have to engage in violent practices to be this productive, they will definitely want to emulate them. And that is exactly what our goal is. So right now, we might actually be looking at a 1.5 year tenure, because what we do not want to do is, after we are done with sensitization, we have selected them, we've actually admitted them into a vocational institute, we go to bed or we go and face the next badge. No, because we are not just interested in clouds and we are not interested in accolades, we are very much interested in impact. We are deliberately focusing on these 10 teenagers because we want to see them to the very, very, very end of their training with adequate support, mentorship, and everything that they will require to be very, very good and resourceful citizens and possibly better leaders of our society tomorrow.
That's great. Yeah, that's amazing. So you said, so what are the criteria? Is it just based on the fact that they cannot maybe afford to go to like post-secondary, or do you have like other criteria?
No, there are actually a range of criteria. One, they must actually be unable to afford a degree after secondary school and be unable to afford a trade.
Okay.
Secondly, we must be able to identify with a passion that we can build on.
Okay.
We must be interested in something relatable.
Yeah.
Some of them already have partial skills that just need to be groomed and brushed up.
Yeah.
Thirdly, they must actually reside in the vicinity, in the community where we are focused on.
It's easier, so there's
So
no like.
those are basically, those are all the criteria that we look out for before we select our 10 beneficiaries in here.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. So I can see the passion that you have for what you do. Where is it coming from?
I was from the streets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was from the streets. I almost didn't get an education. You know, I literally live a very huge part of my teenage life on the street. I experienced crime and violence at a very young age, and I'm able to relate with the struggles of a poor teenager. A lot of people do not know this. So I connect with them because I have actually been through everything they are going through right now. And it's sad. You don't know the half of it. If I begin to tell you stories and tell you about those things today, we probably will not end this session.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And this is what fuels me. I do not want a lot of teenagers to suffer what I suffered. I didn't have help. I didn't have people like me were not existent in my time. You know, so I am trying the best I can to make provisions for the opportunities that I didn't have when I was younger. You know, because I know that a lot of young, talented teenagers can be a lot more than criminals if they get the opportunity. But hardly do they ever get the chance. I lost lots of beautiful friends while on the streets to lots of criminal vices, and a couple of them did not make it alive. You know, but I was just fortunate. And I just feel like this is my way of giving back to humanity and also appreciating God for lifting me out of that problem.
Yep.
It's not as simple as it sounds, but trust me when I say it's indeed a lot.
Yep. Yeah. Because I just felt like, I know, like with the passion and everything must have come from somewhere. And I think sometimes we go through, God put us through a lot of situations just because He's trying to, you know, just like you kind of lead you to where you are now. So it's
I've heard that a lot, and I think that may be true.
That's true. I feel like that's true. I feel like you know, there's like sometimes it's important that we kind of ask. Even the Bible says like give thanks to me in all situations, because you don't know why you are going through what you're going through. You don't know what God is trying to do through, you know, what your situation, right? So the fact that you were able to see that, and now you're actually making a lot of difference in a lot of teenagers, right? Because you kind of have an understanding of what the struggle is like, so you can relate, right, with them. So that's really good. So that's great. So so do you guys like have a website, you know, like the contact people that people can actually
we do. Unfortunately, the website for Project Early Start is currently down.
Yeah.
But it will be up soonest. But for now, they can actually look us up on Instagram. Instagram, of course, I think you know, at Project Early Start. And also, they can look up our profile, our corporate profile on www.savvyminersnigeria.com.
Okay.
www.savvyminersnigeria.com. You can actually see our corporate profile there. And very shortly, we would be back on projectleystart.org. It's currently down, but we hope to be up very soon.
And is it like a phone number or anything like that?
Yes, plus 234 for all inquiries and WhatsApp communications, plus 234 28 458 458.
Okay. So that's 234 28 458 458. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that is really important. And so this is the last question. I hope I didn't miss anything. But there's like so what advice do you have for people, like young people, like those as you are supporting, that are hoping to do something similar to what you're doing? Like, what advice do you have for them to kind of
just be true to yourself, because there are if people do lots of things for different reasons, but the only thing you get to succeed in is what you're true to. So whatever it is, if you think that you're actually passionate about humanity and you want to also touch lives, just be very true to yourself, be sincere. You don't have to do it for... The thing is, I never had any reason to keep doing what I do because I didn't have funding for so long a time. This is the very first time we would have a couple of people coming together to fund us. I've been funding this project myself, and it's because of the passion that I have for it. And of course, I've gotten a couple of international recognition from this project. That is not the principal or the primary motive, but that is an add-on.
Yeah.
It gives you so much joy. You know, when you do so much and people acknowledge and reward you for it, it fuels you. You want to do more. But all this will come only if you're true to yourself. So whatever you're doing to your own self, be true, regardless of what anybody might think or say or might want. Just be true. And that is exactly what you may need to excel.
Oh, I think that's the right answer right there. Yeah, so I think we've come to the end of the interview. Like I would say, like I've learned so much from this interview already. Like it was more than I expected.
Hi, welcome back. I hope you were impacted by today's video. So please leave a comment, let us know what you think, and also subscribe if you've not done that already, and click on the notification bell so you know when I'll be posting a new video. So thank you for watching and have a great day.